And a lot of this, with far as Jordan and Bron relationship, is self-inflicted by LeBron.
You're LeBron James. You came into the league wearing number 23. Now, eventually, it was to be the GOAT and to be supplanted.
Welcome back to another explosive episode of NBA Showdown, where today we uncover the real reason why two of the biggest names in basketball history, Michael Jordan and LeBron James, never formed the legendary bond that fans dreamed of. For years, people speculated about a rift. Was it pride? Was it competition? Or was it simply two titans from different eras walking different paths? Well, today, Stephen A. Smith and Kendrick Perkins pull back the curtain to expose the truth. This isn't just speculation anymore. These insiders offer a rare look into how LeBron's decisions, particularly his self-proclamation as the GOAT, might have permanently fractured any chance of a meaningful relationship with MJ. In this episode, we break down 7 explosive quotes and reveal how Jordan and LeBron's distance wasn't accidental, it was self-inflicted. If you're ready to hear what the mainstream media won't say, buckle up. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the comments. Do you believe LeBron made a mistake by calling himself the GOAT? Kendrick Perkins wastes no time identifying the moment things shifted. According to him, when LeBron James publicly declared himself as the greatest basketball player of all time, that was the exact point when any hope for a true bond with Michael Jordan was lost. This is more than a hot take, it's an inside look at how respect works in NBA culture. In the league, especially among legends, humility is currency. Even players like Kobe, Kareem, and Tim Duncan never made GOAT declarations. They let their legacies speak. For Michael Jordan, a man who never needed to crown himself, it likely felt jarring, maybe even disrespectful to hear someone who grew up idolizing him now put himself above the game. That was not just LeBron raising his own status, it was LeBron inadvertently pushing Jordan aside. Kendrick suggests that this moment did not spark hostility, but rather disappointment and disconnection. Jordan might not be losing sleep over it, but the opportunity for mutual admiration and mentorship may have vanished the moment LeBron chose to anoint himself. What should have been a generational bridge became a personal wall.
See, when Bron self-proclaimed himself as the GOAT, I think right there was the starting
GOAT wasn't instigated by fans or media. It was largely created and fueled by LeBron James himself. Think about that for a moment. Most legendary debates come from comparison, media chatter, fan opinion, or performance side-by-sides, but LeBron did something different. He inserted himself directly into the conversation. Rather than letting history speak for him, he took the microphone and declared his own greatness. That decision not only intensified the debate, it alienated him from the legends who chose silence and humility. For someone like Jordan, who spent his entire career letting his play dictate his legacy, LeBron's self-aggrandizing approach may have felt antithetical to everything the previous generation stood for. It made the debate personal instead of historical. By placing himself at the center of a conversation that should have been driven by time, evidence, and respect, LeBron created unnecessary division. According to Perkins, LeBron is not just a participant in this GOAT debate, he's the one who lit the match. And by doing so, he likely burned bridge with the very man he once looked up to.
And a lot of this, with far as Jordan and Bron relationship, is self-inflicted by LeBron.
Interestingly, Kendrick also offers a balanced perspective by admitting that in his eyes, LeBron James is the GOAT. But what matters more is what comes next. He follows that by acknowledging that GOAT status is always going to be subjective. Some people will pick Jordan, others will choose LeBron. And in the end, it boils down to personal preference. That's an important statement because it shows that even supporters of LeBron's greatness understand that declaring yourself the GOAT doesn't settle the argument, it complicates it. What stands out in this quote is not Kendrick's pick, but his tone. He is willing to admit that this debate is ongoing, open-ended, and nuanced, which makes it even more frustrating that LeBron did not treat it the same way. While Kendrick can say LeBron is the greatest in his view, he still respects Jordan's journey and the nature of the discussion. LeBron skipped that part. He did not leave it to history, fans, or peers. He ended the conversation unilaterally, and that is what separated him from legends like Jordan. Timing and humility matter. If LeBron had waited until retirement or let others speak for him, this entire discussion might feel different. But he didn't. He declared it mid-career in a moment of celebration, and that choice continues to echo louder than any stat or trophy.
When I think about the greatest player of all time, it's still LeBron James in my eyes. It's a debate all day. Some people could go with Jordan, some people could go with Bron. Like I told Molly and Stephen A.
Stephen A. Smith enters the conversation by dismissing the idea that there is bad blood between Jordan and LeBron. He clarifies that the issue isn't animosity, it's curiosity. Specifically, why didn't a relationship ever blossom between two of the most iconic players in basketball history? According to Stephen A., both men have lived lives of excellence. Jordan is enjoying his retirement and business empire. LeBron is still building his own legacy. There's no obvious conflict. So why are they so distant? Stephen A. shifts the lens and starts asking deeper questions. He implies that the reason may lie in the disconnect between how Jordan and LeBron view greatness. For Jordan, greatness was earned through pain, competition, and quiet domination. For LeBron, greatness has been both earned and marketed. So, LeBron greatness has been both earned and marketed. This philosophical difference may explain why they never clicked. LeBron came into the league wearing number 23, a symbolic gesture that declared he was aiming for the throne, but instead of building toward it quietly, he spoke about it openly, celebrated it prematurely, and let that ambition define his narrative. Stephen A. is not pointing fingers, but he is making it clear. The absence of a relationship has a reason, and that reason starts with how LeBron handled his journey to greatness.
Jordan's living his best life, and they're not enemies. But it's not about whether or not or they have a relationship or not. The issue is why.
Stephen A. Smith brings up a subtle but powerful point about LeBron's early career that often gets overlooked. When LeBron James entered the league wearing number 23, the message was clear. It was not just a jersey number. It was a statement that connected him directly to Michael Jordan's legacy from day one. Whether LeBron realized it or not, that choice created a narrative that he would have to either live up to or break away from. Over time, instead of paying quiet tribute to the number, LeBron began positioning himself as the one who would not just match Jordan, but surpass him. Stephen A. points out that eventually this led to the widespread assumption that LeBron was supposed to be the GOAT, the heir to the throne, the new king of the sport. But here's where the problem began. That legacy was never something LeBron allowed to develop naturally. He embraced it too quickly. He wore it as an expectation rather than earning it over time. And with that, the tension between him and Jordan was no longer about respect. It became about succession. But unlike a torch being passed, LeBron's rise started to feel more like a crown being taken. That shift, intentional or not, made any potential mentorship from Jordan almost impossible. Because in LeBron's eyes, he was already there. But in Jordan's eyes, the work was not done.
You're LeBron James. You came into the league wearing number 23. Now, eventually, it was to be the GOAT and to be supplanted.
Stephen A. Smith then digs deeper into the early chapters of LeBron's career and highlights something critical. LeBron was crowned the chosen one before he had ever won a championship. Yet, when given the opportunity to embrace adversity, to climb the mountain the hard way, he faltered. Stephen A. reminds us that before LeBron left Cleveland the first time, he had not won anything. And in that moment of failure, instead of learning from the greats who had done it before, LeBron departed. There was a moment where LeBron could have humbled himself, reached out to the legends for guidance, and treated the NBA as a fraternity of wisdom. Instead, he leaned into power moves. He built super teams. He chased easier paths. Jordan, on the other hand, endured. He got beaten up by the Pistons. He stayed the course. He battled year after year until he broke through. Stephen A. sees this as more than a difference in basketball past. It's a difference in mentality. And that mentality, or lack of it, might have pushed Jordan further away from LeBron. Because how can two men truly relate when one embraced the grind and the other escaped it? That gap in experience, in approach, and in leadership became another silent reason they never truly connected.
And in those early years, when you had proclaimed yourself to embrace these challenges, but then you couldn't win before departing Cleveland.
Stephen A. concludes his take by touching on something that may explain why this relationship never formed: mentorship. He says that LeBron James had every opportunity to learn from the ones who came before him. He could have studied their paths, adopted their humility, and asked for their guidance. But instead, he seemed uninterested. According to Stephen A., LeBron had a chance to grow under the shadow of greatness, but he chose to cast his own instead. And that decision may have cost him a relationship with Jordan. Legends like MJ are not just basketball players. They are symbols of an era of discipline and of unrelenting commitment, and those who came after them are expected to show deference, not submission, but respect. LeBron, by constantly asserting himself in the GOAT conversation by skipping the step of earning the approval of the old guard, ended up isolating himself. He built an empire, no doubt, but he did it without the foundation of those who laid the blueprint. That is what Stephen A. means when he says LeBron did not appear to want that education. He did not want to be a student, he wanted to be the professor, and in doing so, he alienated those who might have once gladly been his mentor.
The opportunities that you had to be a student and to learn and to grow from those who had already done it was something that you didn't appear interested in doing.
So what really happened between Michael Jordan and LeBron James? The answer is not rooted in hate or rivalry. It is rooted in missed opportunities, clashing philosophies, and unspoken expectations. Kendrick Perkins and Stephen A. Smith make one thing clear. LeBron did not destroy a relationship with Jordan. He simply never built one. By choosing to crown himself, by bypassing the wisdom of the legends before him, and by declaring an identity before securing the legacy, LeBron created a gap that even his greatness could not fill. Jordan did not push him away. LeBron walked a different path, one that celebrated his own voice louder than the course of history. In the end, maybe that's why they never talked. Not because they had nothing to say, but because they were never speaking the same language. If you believe LeBron could have handled it differently, drop a comment below and let's talk about it. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more NBA showdowns that cut through the noise.